In this video, we're going to be talking about what it's going to take for you to become a top life insurance agent. So first things first, when you choose to work for an organization, you want to find out who the top producers are. And in addition to these top producers, we're talking current top producers as well as historic record holders. People that want to be elite and want to shatter historic records are completely obsessed about the insurance industry. They're obsessed about the company that they work with. They're obsessed about those that came before them and those that are currently there with them that are operating at a very, very high level. They are ones who work 7 days a week, barely take any days off, including holidays, and work a minimum of 12 hours a day, if not more. This isn't everybody. It's most certainly not the majority of people that get licensed. And in fact, if you don't already know this, 92% of agents don't make it. So imagine what the elites make up for. I'm sure it's less than a fraction of a percent. And in order to become somebody that performs at a very, very high level like this, you have to be extraordinary. You have to do what the majority are not doing, and you have to outwork everybody. So first things first, this isn't just for people that want to break records. This video is for people who want to perform at a high level. So if we want to look at it like this, we have those that don't perform, the 92%, they quit, they don't make it. And then you have the 8%. You have the elites up here and record holders. You have top producers. These are people that are not the greatest, but they're up there. They get recognition. They get recognized. They might be in some kind of magazine at your organization. You might see their face on leaderboards, so on and so forth. You have higher end producers. They might be top producer some month. They might be above average some month. This is AKA above average. You have average producers. You have below average and or part-time producers. So what really dictates where you're going to be at on this graph? It really depends on, one, your commitment, your dedication, and how many hours you're willing to put in. Are you taking this extremely serious like the elites are? Are you very, very extreme about your pursuit? Do you have goals that are beyond monetary goals? You're not just trying to make, say, $1 million a year. You're trying to truly achieve and hold on to records. You're trying to become obsessed and outwork every single possible individual that would be considered a opposition. Or are you just trying to be a top producer? You're working really hard, maybe 5 to 6 days a week, full-time, full grind. Or maybe you want to work 4 to 5 days. Maybe you don't want to work all the working hours in a day. You want to be above average. You don't want to be the greatest. You don't want to be the worst. You want to be average. You want to work a couple of days out of the week. Maybe work 5 days. Maybe even work 7 days. I'm not going to even single out the days like that, because you could work 7 days and only work 2 hours a day, for an example. I'm talking about you actually putting in the commitment. You just look at this like this graph as a level of commitment. Level of commitment, level of sacrifice, level of work ethic. That's all it is. Days aren't really relevant if you're not working every working hour of the day. Or do you want to be below average, part-time, toe dip, and see what the opportunity holds for you, right? Do you just want to make, I don't know, a couple $100 a week, maybe up to $1,000 a week, maybe? If you are working, some people do this seasonally. It just depends on where you want to land on this graph, what your level of commitment is, how many hours you're willing to put in, what your goals are. Everybody's whys are different, their purpose is different, their drive is going to vary from person to person. So what are the elites doing, right? The elites we discussed are working 7 days a week, probably 360 days out of the year. Maybe they take 5 days off, very important holidays. God forbid they have an emergency, something of that sort. Call it 360 days. If they're working 360 days out of the year, and they're averaging, and we're not talking about what they're writing every single day. There could be days they write 10K, 15K, 7K, 5K, but let's just say they average $2,000 per field day that they're out there. If they're working 360 days and they're averaging $2,000 a day, they should be writing $720,000 in a year. We're talking about elite, potentially even record holders. This is at a captive company. If they're independent, they're probably going to do double because they have a wider product availability, more carriers to solicit, so on and so forth. So at a captive company, this could potentially be a record holder or a person that ranks as an elite. Top producers could fall shy under that range, but you can see the math within the schedule, right? If you're writing $2,000 a day, working this many days out of the year, this is how you get this number. There's no secret recipe to how these individuals are performing at a high number. Now, other factors that will determine how much these individuals are able to sell are the amount of leads they have. If they are working at a company that teaches people how to build their network, you would have to be an individual that has a large network to solicit. Family, friends, acquaintances, relatives, so on and so forth. And if you don't know how to constantly generate referrals from the individuals that you're soliciting within your network, you're gonna get to a roadblock sometime throughout your career where you don't have any more people to sell. You'll just flame out. So if you have leads that are generated online that you're purchasing from a vendor, higher quality leads will dictate how much you could write. You increase the volume of leads, you're gonna increase your contact, therefore you're gonna increase your sales. That's how it works. There's no other way around it. You're gonna get to a certain point where you're working every working hour of the day, and the only thing captivating you is the amount of hours in a day. You have a surplus of leads, more than enough. You're gonna get to the point where you know you have more than enough leads. Buying more leads won't help because you only have X amount of hours in a day. This is when you know you've reached your full potential as an elite producer. Now, in order to dictate what it's gonna be for top producer, higher end producer, average producer, we're not gonna break every single one down individually, but figure out an average per day, call it $2,000 a day, and then break down, sometimes it could be more, sometimes it could be less. We're gonna break down the days per week or the days per year, and you'll find out where you may or may not land. So what is the science that dictates what it is you're going to make per year, what it is you're going to write per year? The amount of leads you have is one, the amount of days you work, the amount of hours you put in, and level of commitment, which obviously ties into these. Training and mentorship is also crucial. I'll tell you right now, I had the worst of the worst training. I was handed a script basically and was told good luck when I got into the insurance industry. And that was at a captive company where typically training is a lot more hands-on from my experience of what I've seen and a lot of feedback that I got from the agents in the insurance industry. I still made it happen because I was putting in as many hours as I could possibly put in. And when you do that, no matter your training and mentorship, the better the training, the better the mentorship. If you're dedicated, you're obviously gonna excel a lot faster and do a lot better. But even if your training and mentorship lacks, and you're putting in that many hours and you're researching and you're doing everything within your power to constantly learn, and you're always monitoring who the current top producers are, who the historic record holders are, and you're just becoming very obsessed about becoming an elite record holder or elite producer, you're inevitably going to figure it out because you're compiling years worth of experience for somebody that's below average. If this person's working 5, 10, 15 hours a week and you're putting in 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, I don't know how extreme you are, you're obviously going to consolidate 10 years worth of this person's experience in less than a year and get down everything much, much quicker. The more contact you make, the more lessons you're going to learn, the better you're going to critique your presentation and your approach, and the better you're going to get. It's just how it works. The smartest person in the room doesn't win in this industry. The hardest working person in the room always does. They experience more. Those with the most experience are usually the most talented. So in order to find out where you want to be on this scale, that's completely up to you. That's a decision you make day one. You write down your unconditional commitment. Some people are extreme. I want it to be elite. I want it to be a record holder. I've shattered records. I've done all these things. But I made a commitment to myself, an unconditional commitment, where death was my only condition because I can't control what's out of my control, right? And I said, I'm going to be X, Y, and Z, a record holder, an elite, had all these numbers written down. And the only thing stopping me is death itself. I wasn't going to get in my head. I was going to persist. I was going to keep going. I knew the set of emotions I was feeling, elite producers were feeling. I knew that everything that I was dealing with, they dealt with. There is no magic recipe to why they're doing what they're doing. They have simply worked harder than everybody else, experienced more than everybody else, overcame more obstacles, more objections, and cultivated their presentation and critiqued it as they experienced more and more and more. So for you to operate at a very, very high level, you have to make sure you have leads. You have to make sure you're working every single workable day possible. The more hours you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. The level of commitment dictates where you're going to be at here. And some people are okay, like I said, with being average producers. You want to be average, that's fine. Just know that depending on where you are over here, the lower you go, the closer you are to this group, the 92% that don't make it. And the higher you are, even if you don't become an elite producer, at least you know you have a higher chance of succeeding and belonging to the 8% club. And with time, as long as you're fully devoted and fully committed, sometimes this game is a marathon. Some people get it down in a week, some people get it down in a month. Some people, it could take them 3, 4, 5 months, but guess what? They'll do 10 times better, outperform everybody that got it down in a week. I've seen a lot of crazy stories, and I can attest to this because I've witnessed it myself. I've trained countless agents and countless leaders, and I always see this happening. Don't rush the process. Rush the experience. Get down as much experience as possible. Don't take any shortcuts. The only shortcut to your success is not actually taking a shortcut, and by grinding out as many days as humanly possible and seeing as many people as humanly possible and diving in head first and repetitively doing this and critiquing as you go until you have it down to where you know what your law of averages are and you know how many people it's going to take to get to the goal that you are trying to attain. There's no way you're going to, like I said, find a secret recipe out there that's going to expedite your success other than what I just stated up here. And this is applicable whether you're selling over the phone or you're selling in person. More people equates to more sales. And in order to see more people, you have to work a lot harder and you have to work more workable hours than everybody else. Plain and simple. There's no other way around this. Be disciplined, be persistent, do not let emotions get in the way, because whatever you felt, I felt. Even as a top elite producer and record holder, I felt what you felt. Doubt, negativity, pessimism would creep up, but I remember I made a commitment, an unconditional commitment. I will keep persisting unless death stops me from pursuing what I want to pursue to get to the level I want to get to. So another thing I leave you with is rub shoulders with these people as much as you can. Higher end and above is who you always want to rub shoulders with. These people are going to be relatively busy. So when you can catch them, you catch them. When they make time, if they're an individual like I was, where I would go into the office, people would want some of my time and I would give them my time. I would host a workshop at night or in the morning and I'd invite everybody, people that were on my team at the time and my competitors also were welcome to come to my workshops, because at the end of the day, I wasn't a person to hold back my knowledge. I am a firm believer in what you give, you get back. And God blesses those people who have that mentality. So I always fed people and helped people because I know what it's like to not have the guidance and to have the help. So when you have the opportunity to rub shoulders with these people, rub shoulders with them, because you're going to be a byproduct of your environment. And this goes for personal advice and professional advice. No matter what you are, who you are, the level of competence you have, if you rub shoulders with elite people, top producing people, you're going to start resonating with these individuals. You're going to start thinking how these individuals think. You're going to start applying the day-to-day stuff that these individuals apply. And the same thing applies if you hang out with average or below average people. You're going to have mediocre results, unfortunately, because that's what your environment is. You're not with the apex predators. You're with individuals that get eaten up by these individuals, right? You're with individuals that may or may not complain, may or may not work hard. They will not have inspiring advice that's going to light a fire under you. You got to realize one thing. These individuals up here bleed the same color you bleed and breathe the same oxygen you breathe. If they can do it, if I can do it, you can do it, and you can do it even better. Because record holders and historic records are meant to be broken. They're not meant to be there forever. Somebody's going to get licensed tomorrow or next year or the year after that, and they're going to come through and set the bar even higher than what we perceived possible. We thought this number wasn't achievable. It has not been beaten 5, 6, 7, 8 years. All of a sudden this superstar comes and says, watch this. Records are meant to be broken. So if you can take anything away from this, work as many hours as you possibly could, sacrifice everything, unbalanced for the first year or two. That way you can balance forever afterwards. When you're financially free, you can do whatever you want to do on your own pace at your own time. Maybe your plans are to get into leadership one day, build a team so you can have a work-life balance. Maybe your plans are to work as a top performing producer for a couple of years. You take that money, invest it into real estate. Maybe you want to take that money, invest it into, I don't know, some other vehicle that gets you a X percentage every single year, return on investment, and you're comfortable living with whatever cash flow you make from that. There just depends on who you are as an individual. Maybe you're a producer that wants to produce for 10, 15, 20 years and make as much money as possible because you love the pursuit of beating your own record and competing with other individuals. Everyone's cup of tea varies from person to person. Whatever you resonate with most is obviously what you're going to do. So know yourself and know what you want, and the sacrifice is worth worth it. No matter what type of individual you are, if you're just obsessive, you're a freak, you're extreme, you want to perform at a high level, you're going to figure it out no matter what. You're going to outwork the competition. You're going to be obsessive over this. So that basically sums this up. Hopefully this was of value and of help to you guys. Always keep a high level of optimism no matter what you're going through. Always fight the negative thoughts, because I got them. Other elite producers get them. You're going to get them. Persist no matter what. As long as you push forward, you're going to sell, and you're going to sell at a high level eventually, and you're going to start being able to overcome all of the objections you couldn't overcome. You're going to get down the rebuttals you need that are necessary to become a top performing elite producer. You're going to start closing 70, 80, and some days 90% of the people you sit with, because you have so much experience and you know how to handle every single situation now. You've critiqued the presentation over and over and over again. You understand the diverse personalities that are out there, and you know how to adapt now to those personalities and influence relatively almost everybody you sit with. And no matter what, you always rub shoulders with the elites, with the record holders. Always study the greats. Always look around and see who's doing what at a high level. Don't focus on anybody down here. Don't take the advice of anybody that's below a higher end producer that's above average, because they're going to poison your mind. And like I said, the closer you are to the bottom of this graph, the more likely you are to quit and belong to the 92% of people that don't make it in this industry. So with that said, I hope this video was of value. Best of luck to you, and take care.